me, I do think I am quite a lot like the coronavirus as it happens. For many people, I am seen as a global threat, being as I am well known in the UK, America, Australia, South Africa, and other places where decent people live. Just like coronavirus, I'm not that tolerant of weaknesses. So if you already have underlying weaknesses, it won't take me long to find those, and you won't probably last too long in my company. And finally, just like coronavirus, I don't get along so well with the morbidly obese. Many of you will know that because I am not such a fan of fat people, nothing against them personally, of course, but just that because I come from a place that has socialized healthcare, I need people to take responsibility for their own health. Otherwise, I have to pay for it. So I'm very encouraging of people taking exercise and trying to keep control of themselves. So much so that, what am I, 140 pounds in American money, just under. So I put on half my body weight. I put on 52 pounds in 3 months, and I lost it again in 3 months in order to prove really that fat people are lazy. So that's how much like the coronavirus and why fat people typically cross the street to give me a wide berth. But anyway, moving to the rather more substance of what I wanted to talk to you about today, I thought what might be really fun, given that the last thing any of us need is someone out spelling out to us why we are in a ridiculous situation, how desperate it all is, and how thoroughly despicable scientists are, and indeed how nonsensical the lockdown is. I thought I would rather share with you 5 things that I have learned from coronavirus. And I thought that would be a fun way for us to kind of look at this from both a British and an American perspective, and then just end up with some kind of observations I have about the differences between the British reaction and the American reaction. So I should be talking to you for about 15 minutes. So I reckon you can hold on in there. When I question, do think your questions down. Do remember, I am impossible to offend. You can ask me anything, call me anything, horse face, melted wheelie bin face, old bag. It really doesn't matter. You can say what you want because I have no rules whatsoever. So ask whatever the hell you like, and Gavin will marshal those questions. So 15 minutes from me, time for you to get a glass of wine, a Q&A where your aim is to try and be offensive and see what happens. And then we'll close this thing up. So my observations, things I've learned during this coronavirus nonsense, or corona bollocks, as I call it, but that may be a little bit too flavoursome for my friends in America. You're not quite as off the wall as I am in terms of my language. First up, the thing I think we've all learnt is that people overreact. People overreact massively. It turns out when something goes wrong, people need to do something. It's why when we go to war, I have a military background, when there is a disaster, the first thing you need to do is task your troops with something to do. Even if it's utterly meaningless, people need to be given tasks because otherwise they go to pieces. And of course, that's exactly what's happened with coronavirus. People have gone absolutely bonkers. They've started to prepare and defend themselves for a threat they can't see. And of course, that's why we saw people stockpiling toilet rolls or stockpiling antibac or turning vodka into hand sanitizer. Even if the thing they're doing makes no sense whatsoever, it just makes them feel better doing it. I think there's much in common with pregnant mothers. Surprisingly enough, I am married and I have 3 children. And one of the things pregnant mothers, naive pregnant mothers do is they create a birthing plan. So these ridiculous women who typically shop at Whole Foods will create a birthing plan where perhaps they'll say, I'm going to listen to whale music and I'm going to sit in the birthing pool and then someone's going to rub my back and the baby will pop out. Well, what actually happens, of course, is that the first dagger of pain hits and the birthing plan goes out the window. Well, I think Corona has been like that. People have made these preparations that once actually lockdown hit made no sense whatsoever. People stockpiling stuff made no sense whatsoever. And I think it just shows the sort of idiocy that humans, decent humans, are capable when they feel threatened or when they feel like they're going to be got at. one of the things that I find uplifting is that what Americans went out and did while British people were buying toilet tissue, Americans went out and bought more guns. So there was a massive surge in gun sales, as you all know, in March, 75% new gun ownership in March. And it's something that always gives me heart and gives me courage, because I know that when anything happens in America, the typical reaction from the Conservatives that I love is to go out and buy more weapons. When the Democrats talk about taking your weapons, my friends go out and buy more. When coronavirus happens, the first thing you do is queue to buy more weapons. And I know that's why America will always, always remain the land of the free. You're going to defend yourself with your weapons. The British plan to defend themselves with hand sanitizer, which probably explains why you were able to kick us out of your country, and good for you for doing so. My second thing that I have learned during this coronavirus lockdown is that we all have some very dodgy friends. I say that because there are people who I've known for a very long time, friends I've had for a lot of my lifetime, people that I may have gone to for counsel or advice or sought their views on historically. I have watched people that I considered to be friends to go down the route of the coronavirus madness, to drink the corona Kool-Aid in one as if they were dogs at a bowl, and now they're in the streets wearing masks. Well, not right now, obviously, because it's midnight here, and that would be a daft thing to do. But these are friends of mine, former friends, who I thought were fairly trustworthy souls, but it turns out they too are the sorts of people who are now driving on their own with a face mask on. Please, if you're out there and you are driving alone with a face mask on, do stop, look in the mirror and question what is going on with your life. Question what is happening to you and what happened to the brain that you used to have. Who are you protecting yourself from when you're driving alone in your car? For goodness sake, it has forced me to leave my friend's chat group. Not going to offend people that I was formerly friends with is by quarantining my large mouth. And I'm sure many of you out there would think that would be a jolly good thing indeed. In fact, many young Republicans, it turns out, would think that would be a jolly good thing indeed as well. The third thing that I have learned is that you can understand now how Hitler ended up being quite so successful and how the Nazis managed to get such a grip of an entire nation. Before, there was always an element where you would think, well, surely someone was going to say something or do something. Having watched Britain go into lockdown and be utterly, utterly compliant, to go on bended knee when told to stay inside of your homes, to absolutely live by every single rule they've been told, having watched Brits ask questions like small children asking to use the bathroom.
We will make America great again.